on the Everett Ellison show. We're going to talk about the fight that Trump is having with these Ivy League schools, especially Harvard. You know, these Democrat, liberal-led Ivy League schools are anti-Semitic. We're going to talk about that and why it's important today on the Everett Ellison show. All right, let's get this thing started. You know, the left is slick. The Democrats are slick. They want everybody to think that they're inclusive. They want everybody to think that they love everybody. They want everybody to think that they're for peace and love and buy the world a Coke and keep it company. No, these are evil people. And the one thing you have to do when you try to take out evil is find the source of it. This is a story that I heard when I was younger about these two men fishing. And while they were fishing, they saw a puppy floating downstream. And they said, wow, and they grabbed the puppy and they saved it. Then they saw two puppies, they saved both of them. Then they saw some more puppies and they saved that one. And one man was saving the puppies and another one got out of the water and started going upstream. And his friend said, man, where are you going? Help me with these puppies. He said, you keep saving those puppies. I'm going to go find that son of a bitch that's throwing them in. He was going to go through the source. This is what is happening here with Donald Trump and Harvard. We have this false impression that what's been going on in America over the past few years has been going on through osmosis. You know, all the liberalism, all the climate change, the LGBTQ, the anti-Semitism, and the violence. No, it's coming from the colleges and universities, especially these Ivy League colleges and universities. Man, you send your child to school, they leave your school a stone cold little Christian with all of these religious and conservative values, and they send your child up a LGBTQ, climate change, open borders monster. That little punk gonna get up there trying to tell you what it's gonna be. You paying for his education. And it's going up there and allow these liberals to whack his brain out. Yeah, go want to argue. 19 years old. I believe that the illegals should be able to come over here and we should treat them like we treat each other. Da, 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 da. Yeah, I believe that men can have babies. Why you lost your mind? So Donald Trump has basically started telling these Ivy League universities, look, I tell y'all what, y'all got all these big endowments, billions of dollars of endowments and whatnot. That's cool. Pay your own way. If you don't start straightening up, we're going to start cutting your money. Now, how did we get here? Well, it was interesting. It was October 7th. I think y'all know about that. That's when Hamas decided to come over, to fly over the wall, and they decided to kill over 1,200 Jews, close to 100 American Jews. They killed some, they kidnapped hundreds of them. And the Jewish people said, what the heck is going on here? What just happened? Now, you got to understand how big this was. Israel only has about 8 million people in it. America has 400 million people. So America is about 50 times the size of Israel. That's the equivalent of somebody coming to the United States of America, dude, and killing 60,000 Americans. Did you hear me? 60,000 Americans. It's equivalent of like Mexico coming in or Canada coming over our border and killing 60,000 of our people and then running back across the border and saying, nah, 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 what you gonna do? Now, if they had done it under Joe Biden, we probably wouldn't have done anything. It's, oh man, y'all need to stop that now. That was real bad. Never slow down. Don't do that again. You do that under Donald Trump. Donald Trump's going to go to Mexico and kill everybody in the government, and he's going to beat you until you surrender. And then we're going to take over the country. put it under martial law, take about 15, 20 years to re-educate you, and make sure this never happens again. Well, that's exactly what Bibi Netanyahu and Israel is doing to Gaza. Now, that's backstory to this. The Palestinians were given Gaza by Israel. They made a deal with the PLO, gave it over to them. Everything's cool. Fatah, who kind of answers to the PLO, was the government of Gaza. They and Israel was getting along fine. And then all of a sudden, something terrible happened. The Palestinians elected Hamas to be their government. And then Hamas, in 2007, ran Fatah out. They had no opposition. And they immediately started lobbing bombs over into Israel. Well, when Hamas took over, Israel decided to put up a wall to keep the terrorists out because they were coming over and just killing people. And they they blockaded Gaza, and Egypt did also. Why is Hamas so dangerous? Hamas has said that all of Palestine, including Israel, should be taken over by Hamas, by the Palestinians, and that they were going to drive Israel into the sea. The destruction of Israel is their stated goal. Now hear me. You have a neighbor right next to you who has written on paper that their goal is to destroy you. And they don't just say it. Almost every day they're lobbing bombs across the border to try to do it. Finally, it went too far. And when Hamas attacked Israel on October 7th, 2023, Netanyahu went off. And I don't think the world was expecting. They expected pushback. But they didn't expect him to push back as hard as he did. Because he pushed back and he's still pushing. But I knew what Netanyahu was going to do. Why? Because I knew him. I didn't know him. I don't know him personally. I'd watched his life, and I knew the type of guy he was. And I knew that he was going to turn Gaza into a parking lot. I knew he was just waiting for a reason. And when he started doing it, a lot of people said, okay, that's enough. You hit him hard enough. Stop. And he said, no, we're not stopping. Whether you think he's right or whether you think he's wrong, that's the point. Now, you have Palestinians that have come over here, and they're on these campuses. A lot of Ivy League campuses, there's a lot of campuses, period. You have a lot of Muslim people that are here in America from overseas who come here and go to these schools. But you also have a lot of Americans who support the Palestinian cause over here also. And they are very, very vocal about what's going on in Palestine, okay? Very vocal. Now, some people say they're a little bit too vocal, so what they've started doing, they started going on these college campuses, and they started harassing the Jewish students that live on these college campuses. They're shutting down classes. They won't let people go to classes. They're putting up ramparts and setting up camps and just messing with people, like calling Free Palestine and all kind of mess. So at Harvard, it got particularly bad. And so they called the president of Harvard, this little lady by the name of Claudine Gay. And it got bad at MIT, and it got bad at UPenn. And so these Jewish students started complaining. They said, look, man, we can't go anywhere. We can't go to school. We can't go home. We can't go get anything to eat because these pro-Palestinian people are just out there acting a damn fool. Most of them out there talking about, Free Palestine, and don't understand that most of them, if they went to Palestine, they'd kill them. All these little LGBTQ students, Talking about free Palestine? Okay, you take your little free Palestine behind two Palestine and see what they do to you. They'll throw you off a building and make your head crash against the rocks. Now, Israel got all kind of LGBTQ and abortion rights. The Palestinians don't. You can't go over there and talk about I'm going to get an abortion in Saudi Arabia and the Palestinians. But they don't have that mess over there. But they support the Palestinians. So they called Claudine Gay. She's the first black president of Harvard. That's a big deal to be the first black president of Harvard. You know, they still love all that bean counting to be the first black person to make a white man stand. It makes them feel so good about themselves. So Claudine was the first black president of Harvard University. And so Congress lady Stefani asked her a question. She says, talking about the genocide of Jews, does that violate Harvard's discrimination and anti-bullying policies? This stupid heifer said, it's according on the context. You're talking about killing Jews. And each one of these stupid people from these schools didn't understand that from the history of the world, we now understand that when you start talking about killing Jews, that kind of needs to be, when you start talking about killing anybody, it needs to be stopped. But when you start talking about killing people as a race, it really needs to stop. Man, we just kind of decided as a civilized nation, that just ain't cool. So she asked the question, is advocating for the genocide of Jews a violation of your bullying and harassment policies? It's according on the context. Well, she had to resign behind that. But they did not stop the protests. They did not stop the anti-Semitism. So they come to find out Harvard all involved in DEI. Harvard's involved in anti-Christian bigotry. All of these schools are. And they're sending out children who parrot this. And we wonder why American culture has become so debased. You know, people don't want to get married. Young ladies don't want to have children. People want to just do drugs and have you got this hookup culture now. You got these STDs and AIDS running throughout the whole community. You got these young folks act like they've lost their mind. You see young folks getting married now. It's a strange thing, man. And America's dying behind this. And people are asking, where is this coming from? People have to be taught to destroy themselves. It's not natural to want to kill yourself. It's not natural to not want to have children. It's not natural to not want to get married and go have that's not natural. It's not natural to go out in the streets and commit murder and kill one another. Where is this coming from? The colleges and universities. Man, it's crazy. I went to college, back in the 80s. And, it made a little sense. You want to go see a young lady, they tell you, look, sign in. If you want to go to a visit, when you leave, sign out. Made sense. Say, okay, that's no problem. Man, I started finding out a few years ago that they got boys and girls staying in the same dorm right now. And I'm asking the question, why would you do that? What is the upside of putting boys and girls in the same dormitory? Now, of course, young folks ain't going to say no to that. You ain't going to tell a boy, well, I'm going to let you go up and be with girls on the same floor. Boy goes, I ain't going to want to do that. He's going to say, oh, you got yourself a deal. But the question becomes, why would colleges and universities do that? Why would they put boys and girls into the same dormitory, knowing that these children are freshly from home, knowing what boys and girls do when they get together out of the sight of their parents. Why would you put that witch's brew together? And now you come up with a hookup culture. You come up with a rape culture. You come up with a misogynist culture and a misandry culture where these young people don't respect any other anymore. Familiarity brings contempt. And they become too familiar with each other. When boys and girls were separated, boys treated girls with much more respect because they weren't as familiar with them as they are now. And as I said before, familiarity brings contempt. And there's a lot of contemptuousness between young people now. The culture where all of a sudden you see these girls out here and they have tattoos all over themselves, and they got these bull rings in their noses, and everything about them is almost artificial, from their hair to their nails to their hair. They're going and getting silicone implants, and they're getting BBLs in their behinds, and you're asking, what is this about? It's about you becoming a sex object. You ask, where is this coming from? The parents aren't teaching this. Well, they might be teaching it now because the younger parents now, they're teaching what they've learned. But the colleges and universities started putting this in the heads of these children. Not teaching the young girls to be virtuous, teaching them to be sex objects. Telling them that some little thug don't want you, you're not worth anything. And Donald Trump says, it's time to put a stop to this. That war over it is terrible. It's horrible. They say close to 70,000 Gazans have died. It's horrible. I blame Hamas for being a lot of things. But the main thing I blame them for is being stupid. They were stupid just like the Japanese were stupid at Pearl Harbor when they thought that they were going to come here and kill close to 3,000 Americans and go back home and nothing was going to happen. They saw what happened. We dropped an atomic bomb on them for that and changed their whole culture. They were stupid the way Al-Qaeda was stupid. And the Middle East was stupid for allowing Al-Qaeda to give them coverage and to give them sanctuary. Because they took down the World Trade Center, and we've killed millions over there for that. We've taken down the heads of many countries behind that. And we changed civilizations behind that. And the children on these college campuses are being stupid. So Donald Trump took Harvard to court. First he said, we're going to cut down, we're going to take away $3 billion in federal money from you. It's a lot of money. He says, we're going to keep international students from coming to Harvard because you're bringing all these Palestinians and whatnot over here. And even though Americans have a right to protest on our property, you don't come over here in America and protest and raise hell over here if you're a visitor. It's like somebody coming to your house. Yeah, your children might can run through the house and maybe jump on the furniture, but somebody else come to visit. Boy, you better get your behind off my couch. So these Palestinians are coming over here trashing and burning up stuff and looting, and Trump says no. And Harvard keeps bringing them. So it's been a mess. And Trump is doing something that I hope a lot of y'all see. He's not just dealing with liberalism today and then with the Democratic Party today. He is destroying the institutions that give it sanctuary. He's going upstream, and he's finding the son of a bitch that's throwing them puppies in. He's not just saving them one by one. He's pulling up the institutions. ASAID, climate change, legislation, all of it. Schools and universities that are promoting DEI, all of it. This artificial elevation of people that didn't deserve it. These perverts, liars, psychopaths, anti-Christian bigots that elevate these thug, hoes, and rappers that go out in the streets and press these lies. These snooty, nasty ingrates at these Ivy League colleges that think that they're better and smarter than everybody and have a right to artificially change American society by promoting an atheist ideology. There is no God, a Marxist ideology, a feminist ideology that tries to teach your children and to try to teach your girls to act like men, to try to teach your men to act like girls, to say it's all right for men to be castrated and walk around with silicone breast implants in their chest, to tell children they don't need to listen to their parents, to perpetuate the lie that there's no God, that every man is a law unto himself. The Democrats have preached since their beginning some type of nihilism. I do what I want. I don't protect the weak. I exploit the weak. If you weak, I'm coming for you. I'm not going to empower you. I'm going to take your power. If you have money, I'm going to tax it and take it. If you have a gun, I'm going to take it. If you have freedom, I'm going to trap you in a ghetto. If I have opportunity to educate you, no, I'm not going to teach you to read and write. If you want to start a business, I'm going to regulate the hell out of every area so you can't even get a permit to start one. If you want to be a virtuous and a chaste person, I'm going to show you pornography and make sure that you don't even know what that is. Make fun of you if you do it. Sick people. So Donald Trump has told them, Harvard, Columbia, Princeton, all of you. If you do it, I'm going to cut off your money from the federal government. You have a right to do what you want. You have a right to do what you want to, but you don't have a right to ask us for money to do it. Do it on your own dime. We're going to cut off your funding from these foreign countries. Every child, that every child that comes to the United States of America from China, they're obligated by the Communist Party of China to spy on us. And Harvard got Chinese children all over the place. They are obligated by their country to come and spy on us. We got a bunch of spies running around in America. We're educating children that hate us. Think about how stupid this is now. The best colleges, the best educational facilities in the world in America. And we are allowing these colleges to educate the citizens of nations who hate us. And then they take that knowledge back to their countries and use that knowledge to compete and to fight against us. You know what? That is so stupid. I mean, it reminds me of Austin Powers. Dr. Evil was sitting there with Austin Powers. He had captured him, and they sitting there having dinner. You sitting there eating with Austin Powers. Captain Evil's son come in, Scott. They have this kind of cantankerous relationship. And Dr. Evil says, Scott, this is my nemesis, Austin Powers. And Scott said, and you're feeding him? He said, why don't you take a gun and shoot him? This is how I see America. They tell you our number one geopolitical enemy in the world is China. And you're buying everything they can make And then they take that money and they're buying and they're building tanks and aircraft carriers and satellites and missiles upon at us. And then you are educating their children on how to build them. And I bet everybody else all the world look at us and say, boy, the Americans got to be the stupidest. You know what's going on? The liberals hate America. The liberals are doing it. And Donald Trump says, no, that stops. That stops right now. And liberals say, why? Why? And Trump says, can't you see I'm putting tariffs against these people so we don't buy any more of their stuff? And can't you see that we no longer want to educate their population to come and kill us? And these leftists are saying, that's discriminatory. That's discriminatory. You don't have a right to do that. That's discriminatory. And plus, they talking about putting Jews in ovens again. 3 strikes. Yeah, this needs to stop. So y'all understand what's going on now? Because these colleges and universities are turning our children not so much against our country, against America and what it is to be an American. They are also educating and providing sanctuary for our enemies to defeat us. And then they're talking about eradicating and committing genocide against a segment of our population. And over here harassing them in real time. And we supposed to allow it? Hell no, we ain't gonna allow it. I don't blame DT. Run their asses out, put it down on them. You are not gonna lose America, you're not gonna use American money and American support to destroy America and help our enemies. And I hope you find a way to lock them up and put them in jail. When you find that way, call me and deputize me. I'll go up there and help you lock their behinds up. And I hope they try to buck and give me a billy club. I'll treat them like I treated inmates when we was working in the penitentiary. Yeah, you know they can't fight. Bunch of men running around with high heel shoes on. Give them a gun, they gonna let her hold it. So if you people on the left got any sense whatsoever, I'd advise y'all to cut this mess out. Because we're tired of you now. And y'all making some very, very powerful enemies that ain't sleeping any longer. And when we come at you, we're not going to stop. Matter of fact, hell, man, we coming already. We're not playing no more. I'm glad to be on this side of the battle for once and for all. We getting down with the get down. We taking it to them. Donald Trump just been in office for about maybe 6 months. Seemed like he's been in for 6 years. He's done so much work. And we're going to keep on grinding. We're going to keep on fighting because I'm here to wake you up. Subscribe, like, comment on this thing. We chased 100,000. And when we get to 100,000, we going to get to 1 million. I hope I did you some good today. So you'll come join me again for another edition of the Vince Everett Ellison Show. All right, friends, Vince Everett Ellison is here. I want you to go to my website. And on my website, you're going to see a lot of great stuff, man. You're going to see that we got T-shirts, we got caps. You got my books, my documentaries. You got all kinds of stuff on VinceSpeaksTruth.com. Go there. We're dropping new T-shirts. We're dropping new merchandise. My new book, The End of Tolerance, is there. The End of Tolerance. Make sure you get it. Make it #1. If you got my first 3, get The End of Tolerance. It's just as good. And it's telling us we have to end our tolerance with these leftists, these Democrats. We can no longer allow them to sexually groom our children. We can no longer allow them to castrate little boys and call them little girls, run God out of the public square, take away our guns, take away our sovereignty. No longer allow it. So go on VinceSpeaksTruth.com. That is VinceSpeaksTruth.com. Hit merchandise. You'll see the T-shirts. You'll see the caps. You'll see the books. You'll see the documentaries. You'll see it all. And let's keep this ball rolling. God bless you.